Today we're taking a look at these NFL matches, which are happening on Sunday, November 7, 2021, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 270 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. Houston Texans vs Miami Dolphins. The Houston Texans are one of the worst defensive teams in the NFL, as they are giving up 30.1 points per game. In their previous game against the Los Angeles Rams, they allowed 38 points on 467 total yards of offense, 302 passing, 165 rushing. The Rams struggled a bit as they went 4 of 11 on third down attempts and failed to convert on fourth down in their only try. If they can figure out how to allow less than 7.1 yards per play, they will be in a greater spot here. Our first betting advice is to pick Texans +6. The Dolphins are a bottom 5 team and scoring on both sides of the ball, with the offense managing just 17.3 points per game on 301.9 yards per contest. Miami's defense has been disappointing after a strong 2020, with opponents averaging 29.1 points and 406.9 yards per game. Tagovailoa has started 5 games while missing some time with a rib injury, completing 103 of 157 pass attempts for 1,057 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, in addition to 2 scores on the ground. Gaskin has carried the ball 66 times for 279 yards, while adding 31 receptions for 165 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Gesicki is the team's top pass catcher, with 40 receptions for 475 yards and 3 scores. Christian Wilkins is having a strong season at the defensive tackle position with 38 tackles, including 6 for a loss, 2 sacks, 6 quarterback hits, and a forced fumble. Our second betting advice is to pick under 46. Denver Broncos vs Dallas Cowboys. The offense has been average for the Broncos. Through 8 games, Denver is averaging 19.6 points per game. They rank 17th in passing yards per game and 14th in rushing yards per attempt. The defense is the main reason the Broncos won 4 games this season. The Broncos' defense is allowing 17.1 points per game and 2.5 sacks per game. They rank 2nd in points per game allowed and 9th in sacks per game. Denver ranks top 10 in passing yards allowed per game and rushing yards allowed per game. Our first betting advice is to pick Dallas, -9.5, even with Prescott out last week. The Cowboys still rank 3rd in the NFL in points per game and 2nd in first quarter scoring. Against a Denver team that has found itself starting slower, and Dallas could put this one offhand early. Dallas finds itself 1st in total yards per game, 2nd in rushing yards per game, and 3rd in passing yards per game. The balance has made them a more complete team than years past, and Denver will certainly have issues slowing them down. Prescott being back at quarterback would be crucial, despite Cooper Rush's success last week. Prescott has 16 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. It helps he has one of the best receiving groups in the league between CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, combining for over 150 receiving yards per game. Not to be forgotten, of course, is Ezekiel Elliott, averaging 81 yards per game on the ground behind one of the league's best rushing attacks. Our second betting advice is to pick under 49.5. Quick reminder, BetUS is a platform that offers betting on all major sport and horse racing leagues. It has slots, table games, blackjack, and a variety of other casino games. All of the major US leagues are available for betting, including the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, and PGA. In addition, BetUS allows wagers on esports, Olympic events, soccer, cricket, boxing, cycling, and many more competitions. Join BetUS now using our link down below and get 125% cashback bonus on your first deposit on the sportsbook after you open an account and deposit using our link and use our promo code HIGHSTAKES. Minnesota Vikings vs Baltimore Ravens. The Vikings converted only 1 of 13 third downs and had 8 of 12 possessions last only 5 plays or fewer. They desperately need a victory after falling to 3-4 and losing pace in the NFC North. Unfortunately, the circumstances are different, as they'll be facing a hungry Ravens team off their bye week. Our first betting advice is to pick Baltimore Ravens, -6. That had to be one of the longest bye weeks ever for the Ravens. Kirk Cousins is hit or miss under center, but he's clearly capable of putting up some gaudy offensive stats in the pocket. This could be his opportunity against a Baltimore defense that's crashing and burning. They have to figure out a way to get heat on Cousins in the pocket whenever he drops back and throws. Granted, they've done a great job in slowing down opposing rushing attacks, which is a huge plus when facing a Vikings offensive backfield with Dalvin Cook in it. However, Cook is also a tremendous receiver, and Cousins is going to look to put pressure on the linebackers to cover, along with the defensive backs. The lack of dependable running backs could lead to the Ravens' undoing this season. So much is being placed on the shoulders of Jackson. Perhaps there's hope for Devonta Freeman, Tyson Williams or even Le'Veon Bell to show something against a Vikings defensive front that's clearly struggling. This isn't a top 10 run defense like they saw with Cincinnati. Our second betting advice is to pick over 50. Minnesota Vikings vs Baltimore Ravens. The offense has struggled this season, but the defense has carried the team, allowing only 22.5 points per game. Pass rusher Myles Garrett is having a great season with 10.5 sacks, 20 QB hits, and 31 tackles, while linebacker Anthony Walker is eliminating plays at the second level with 43 tackles, but the defense is ultimately led by its secondary, which is allowing only 220.1 passing yards per game. Greedy Williams is emerging as a top coverage cornerback with 6 passes defended and an interception, while rookie cornerback Greg Newsome II and veteran cornerback Denzel Ward have combined for 7 passes defended and have limited passing lanes down the field. Our first betting advice is to pick Cleveland Browns plus 2.5. The Cincinnati defense is looking to rebound from their worst performance of the season. They surrendered a whopping 405 passing yards to Jets backup QB Mike White and 511 total yards. Overall, the pass defense is subpar, ranking 23rd in the league, while the rush defense comes in at 7th. The Bengals are averaging 27.5 points, placing them 7th overall. They are allowing an average of 20.3 points, good for 6th in the NFL. The Browns' defense is among the best in the NFL. They have been stellar in back-to-back games, holding the Broncos to 14 points and the Steelers to only 15 points. Cleveland's secondary is outstanding, and they stand 7th in the NFL against the pass, while the run defense is tabbed 3rd. The Browns are scoring an average of 22.9 points, ranking them 19th in the league. The defense is limiting foes to only 22.5 points, placing them 13th overall. The Browns have been hovering around the .500 mark this season, and the struggles offensively have been the primary reasons why, scoring only 22.9 points per game and only averaging 221.4 passing yards per game. Baker Mayfield has struggled under center this season, completing only 66.7% of passes for 242.7 yards per game and 6 touchdowns, while also throwing 3 interceptions. To make matters worse for the offense, the receiving core is dealing with a handful of injuries, and with Jarvis Landry and Donovan Peoples-Jones both questionable for the game, while Odell Beckham Jr. was released from the team this week. The bright spot offensively has been the run game, anchored by one of the best defensive lines in the NFL, with Nick Chubb averaging 97.3 yards per game, while D'Ernest Johnson has stepped up to help split carries, averaging 22.4 yards per game. Our second betting advice is to pick under 47.